I spent a year with Leo, and then I went through the script and rewrote a lot of the boardroom scenes and lingo. And the speeches that Leo gives are all like literally word for word out of the book. And also I rewrote all the sales scenes, like with the back and forth. So I was really involved.
Hi, it's Rob Moore here, and welcome to the Disruptive channel. So in this interview, Jordan Belfort, the real Wolf of Wall Street, reveals the truth about the book and the movie. He talks about how two of the biggest actors in the world were bidding off against each other for the movie. And he talks about what's true in the movie and what they made up, and what he liked about what they made up and what he didn't like about what they made up. So I think you're going to love it. But to get other videos like this, including with Jordan himself, you need to like this video and subscribe to the channel right now. Enjoy the interview. So the film, the 2013 film, The Wolf of Wall Street, how real was that film compared to your life?
So it was I think what was very realistic, and it was it captured the essence of that moment of my life, that period. It showed what happened in a way that really allowed people to almost felt like they were there and experiencing it. Most of it was true. Some scenes weren't. What mostly was incorrect was some of the order in which things happened. So they, in the movie business, they try to collapse time. Remember, they have 3 hours. That's a long movie to tell a life story. So they are forced to collapse certain characters. So, like for instance, Danny, the Jonah Hill character, he got the brunt of everything bad. Like, man, they put 5 people's actions into one character, right? For good or ill. So that's an example. And then things like that, like like the yacht sank, which is true, and the plane crashed, which was true, but it didn't happen in the same 5-minute period. It happened a week later. So, and like when I went to Switzerland, the timeline was compressed. So the big things though that weren't true, there was 2 real things. There's 3 things that were inaccurate. Number one, and this is important, is that they made it seem like I went down to Wall Street as this naive babe in the woods. Can't we make our clients money too? That was like day one. I said to Matthew McConaughey, can't we make our clients money? And he's like, no, we don't care about that, right? And that was showing without that line of dialogue, which is accurate. That's what I said to this guy in day one, was in the movie to show that I was a good person. That's there to show that I started off with a moral compass. I want to make our clients money. And then the next scene, as I'm still training, they have me in a strip club with 5 hookers snorting coke, right? That didn't happen. That de-evolution of the human spirit took about 2.5 to 3 years. So I was through that whole period, I was as a trainee, I was in love with my wife, I wasn't cheating, I wasn't doing drugs. It was a very slow, insidious creep to where I became that guy that was out there partying like a rock star, living like a king, and doing all that, right? So that sort of was interesting. I disagreed with that when I saw the script. I was like, I think that's a mistake. I think it's more interesting to show a slower development, but that's, they decided that. So that was one thing. Another thing was there's a great scene in the movie when I say, I'm not leaving. The show goes on. And I basically, I'm going to leave Stratton and decide not to, right? And then everything goes haywire after that. That never happened. When I gave that speech, and that speech was almost dead on balls accurate, except I never said, I'm not leaving, because I'm not stupid. I left. I actually did leave, and I had another company called Steve Madden Shoes, which was a very small company. I owned that company too, and I went and ran that company with Steve. And we shared an office together for years. So I spent the next section at Steve Madden. Now, in that case, I understood why they made the change, and I thought it was a good change for the purposes of an entertaining movie, that I stayed, because it kept the action in the place that everybody loved, which was the boardroom. So that I got. I didn't think that was an error, okay? Another thing that was fictitious, although I wish this could happen because it was a wonderful scene, was the meeting on the yacht with the FBI agent. That never happened. But it was a great scene, I think we actually discussed that we thought, and it was also, I agree that we should definitely have us meeting in the middle somewhere would be a great way to increase the tension. So that was just purely invented. But I did know about Coleman, and we were like arch enemies from this distance. We're now very good friends, actually. He's been on my own podcast. It's pretty ironic, right? So we became friends over time. So that scene was invented. And then there's one more thing that I think is important for everyone who's listening, and this is really important for your own careers, is that there's a scene very subtly in the early part of the movie when I go to work at that small firm and I'm being interviewed, and I asked the guy, I said, well, hey, is this stuff legal? And he says, well, you know, right? Let me just tell you something. If he would have said that to me, I would have run out the door. I had never gotten in trouble in my life. I wasn't about to go work somewhere that it was maybe not legal. What he did say was, of course it's legal. We're members of the NASD and regulated by the SEC. So the lesson there, this is important to everyone who's listening. You know, when you go out into the workplace and you go into a company, if things don't seem right, don't just assume, well, yeah, how can we be in business? No, you got to go with your gut. That was a big mistake I made. They misled you in the movie that I was just like, oh, yeah, sure, I don't care. That never happened.
Were you quite involved in the film in terms of, you know, the writing of it? And yeah.
Intimately. I spent a year with Leo, very, very close, spent a lot of time together. And I worked very close with Terry Winter, the screenwriter, who's a brilliant screenwriter. And I went through every single word of the script with, you know, Terry adapted my book and did an amazing job. And then I went through the script and rewrote a lot of the boardroom scenes in lingo. And I did all the stuff that you saw with like the presentations. The speeches that Leo gives are all like literally word for word out of the book. So the screenwriter, Terry, was, you know, literally egoless there and just literally transplanted what I had written in the book into the movie. That's why he's such a great writer, Terry. He doesn't try to like change it to put his own stamp on it. And also I rewrote all the sales scenes, like with the back and forth. So I was really involved.